What were those battles like Keane and Vieira those days?
The best. One battle to define my Premier League era is Keane Vieira Keane.
Yeah, them like hugging and kissing and...
It's not the same.
You play good football. No, you play good football. Oh, piss off, bro. You need this edge in that. Like,
Didn't Van
Roy
Dijk
Keane
and De Bruyne have a picture together? You'd never see that with Keane and Vieira. Them
It's crazy now you see them together like they're buddies on the Sky sofa.
And there's still some bite there. Remember that?
Yeah, they throw little jabs. They throw little jabs every once in a while. But I see them cracking jokes together now, and it's like, wow, these guys would have killed each other back in the day. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rematch. It's myself, your host, Lias Bouzidi, and today I feel like I've got the embodiment of the Arsenal versus Man United rivalry. We've got YouTube's Sir Alex Ferguson versus YouTube's Arsene Wenger. These guys have been, John, looking at each other like enemies the entire shoot. We have Adam Mckola here, back again. Turkish, back again as well too, man.
Yeah, been a few times.
Welcome back to the show.
Love, man, love.
Yeah, man. No, I like working with Turkish, man.
Yeah.
We haven't worked together much. I always watch his shit and that, so I
told him, I think
like
his
watching.
Arsenal podcast, I watch every single episode.
Yeah.
I don't care about Arsenal whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't go looking for Arsenal content. But I do watch a lot of Turkish stuff, man. So
We're old school, man.
Yeah.
We're old school. So
yeah, we would have had beef in school over these games.
20 years ago, we were arguing in school about this. So.
We had James and Cam on recently for an Arsenal Man United episode. That was the 8-2, but I think it was actually fitting because they're both younger than you guys, right? And they're talking about a game where maybe at that point the rivalry had kind of dissipated a little bit between Arsenal and United. It was still bad blood, but they weren't competing for
Fergie and
titles
Wenger
anymore.
started doing things together.
Yeah.
And that's when you knew it was like,
This whole nonsense.
this is dead.
You know what I mean?
This rivalry's dead.
I always compare it to, you like hip hop guys, rap guys,
Yeah.
Jay-Z and Nas.
Yeah, man.
Beef, intense. And I was a Nas guy. But then when I saw Jay-Z bring out Nas at the Def Jam concert, signed him, it just felt like, all right, Jay-Z won this. So it felt like, all right, Fergie's won this. That's what it felt. And the Van Persie move, later on. It was a year after the 8-2.
Yeah, the year after.
That was the nail in that coffin.
You think Jay-Z won?
Not the lyrical battle.
Not the
but
like,
the war.
The business, maybe.
Yeah, the business of, okay, I hear it. I guess that's what
Nas
Sir
won
Alex
the
won as well,
battle.
too.
Jay-Z won the war.
Did Wenger win either?
I mean, Fergie puts Invincibles above every other achievement he's done, so I don't know.
Fair enough.
Just
This
being
was
nice.
really, though, the pinnacle of the rivalry, right? 02, 03. I mean, you could even say the late 90s as well, too, but this felt Henry versus Nistelrooy as well, too. That kind of summed up the two sides. But this game, funnily enough, happens between two Arsenal titles. The 01-02 season, which I think it's Gary Neville even says he thinks is the best Arsenal team ever. And then 03-04, which is, of course, the Invincibles. But this season right here, Man United upset the establishment and won a title and maybe a campaign that they weren't expected to. Is that fair to say, Adam?
I always expected us to win the league or at least fight for it. Obviously, it's a lot different nowadays where I'm kind of used to not being involved in a title race as much as I would want to be. You always expected Man United to win the league. And like Ruud van Nistelrooy was there. We knew he could score goals and deliver those goals. We still had David Beckham knocking around, Beckham, Keane, Scholes, Giggs in the midfield. Like when you're talking about players like that, you've always got to expect a league title win. But obviously we had lost Peter Schmeichel and we were struggling replacing him. So we kind of kept chopping and changing with our goalkeepers. And obviously at this point we got Fabian Barthez in, who the season before at Highbury gifted them the win.
Yeah.
I think it was the season before. So there was that little weakness where you go, all right, our goalkeepers maybe, as much as I love Barthez, he'd probably be one of the best keepers in the world, like in this day and age.
The ball playing age.
Yeah, that's true.
We played him outfield in a preseason game. You ever seen that?
I've never seen that, really.
Yeah, I think it was in Singapore.
I mean,
or somewhere
Onana
like
got
that.
himself a £50 million move based off his feet, so maybe Barthez is 75.
So yeah, whilst we weren't our strongest, I always expected us to win the league or challenge.
I'm glad he said that because that's the realist. 100%. Man United, you should always expect that. Obviously now it's different time, but during that time, even through a transition, you should expect that. It's similar to City now, they're in a transition.
But they still
Their fans
expect
should
to do
still
something.
expect to be pulling
That's
things
fair.
out. And I agree with you, this was the pinnacle because even forget living through it. When you look back and hear comments from the players and the managers, that 97-98 Premier League win, it got to Fergie a little. Then they followed up with a three-peat and a treble in between. Then we managed to get one back at Old Trafford in 01-02. So this was the pinnacle of it because if 97-98 had an effect on Fergie and a couple of the players, and they've talked about it since, 01-02 definitely did. The Old Trafford win definitely did.
Wenger used to get under his skin hard.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember when he he came out and he was like, oh, he speaks 5 languages, does he? I got a kid from the Ivory Coast who does that. He was like, he really used to wind him up. But again, I think we spoke about this with Henry and Van Nistelrooy off camera earlier. It's like they made each other better. They made each other push for more. And maybe, without that kind of challenge, we don't win the treble or we don't go on and do some of the things that we did.
Didn't he say something like this ain't Japan?
Yeah.
That war was real. That's why.
Can you imagine if Sir Alex, if a manager said that today? I'd be cancelled.
Someone could have said it about Ange.
This ain't Australia, man.
But nah, this was the pinnacle of it for sure, man. The pride that was involved in these games. And football was a lot about pride then, passion then. Now that's kind of dwindled out of the game now. But yeah, I loved the game for what it was then because of games like this.
And there was great football on show. And players were allowed to be, like every day now, there's too much robots in today's game for me. But managers are the main thing, coaches are the main thing. They're over-coaching these players to a point where they don't know how to deal with situations on their own. Meanwhile, a lot of these managers, yes, they coached, and obviously you talk about the football both played, but they allowed their players to problem solve on the pitch. And it made some of these players the best.
100%. That's where the magic comes from.
We talk these days, right? There's this stigma that Man United fans from London in particular would almost rather see Man City win a league title than Arsenal. And for whatever reason, that's a common consensus. A lot of United fans have been rooting for City this year. I'm not saying you were one.
By the way, I'm not from Manchester, so let's get out of there. But I would rather Arsenal win the league this season. Yeah. Doesn't mean I want Arsenal to win the league. But also I can see why some people wouldn't mind sitting in it because it feels like it's not really happening.
And also, can you also almost not emphasize with those people, but or empathize, with those people, but also understand that if you grew up in this era, that those feelings don't die easy. You know what I mean? Some people still hold on to their resentment. I hate Arsenal more than City. But for the pure, you're looking at it more so you don't want City to eclipse Sir Alex's achievements.
Before we know it, they're going to be close to 30.
But you hate Arsenal more than you hate Manchester City.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because of school, school was wild these days, girl. School was wild. It's I started secondary school in 2005.
I'll go one further. If we're talking hate, I hate United more than Tottenham.
Wow.
Because Tottenham are jokers to me. That's how we laughed at them. There was never a threat and it was just the noise about, you're not from North London. They finished above us recently a few times or not so recently.
You've never considered that. You've never been threatened by Spurs though.
United caused pain to Arsenal fans.
Ruined childhood.
And that's where hate comes from. That's where rivalry comes from. So I get it with the Man City thing for sure. What's Cam saying as a London United fan?
Hey, Cam hates Arsenal, man.
Yeah,
Cam despises Arsenal.
I thought so. Yeah. He's one of them.
And I remember, when I first came to England, my best friend growing up was an Arsenal fan, but there weren't that many. I don't grow up with Arsenal fans like you guys do, or Man United fans like you do. But I grew up really watching United 06 onwards. So Arsenal were kind of no longer a threat at that point, and City were starting to be on the ascendancy. In fact, Chelsea was always the team that scared me the most. But City were on the ascendancy, and that 6-1, it scarred me. So I really hated City. And when I came to England, that's around the time when you guys started coming back up with Arteta. And that first title race, I wanted you guys to win it over City. Because I'm like, City, I hate City, this and that. And Cam was like, you haven't seen Arsenal and their fans when they're in a title race and when they actually win it. And I'm like, how bad could it really be? He's like, yes, you don't understand how bad Arsenal fans are when they win stuff.
Also, if City wins something, you have to avoid 3-4 fans.
Yeah.
Arsenal fans are
And the thing is,
it feels null and void.
Cam told me that in 2022, excuse me. It's 2026 now, and they haven't won anything, but I actually understand it more. I'm seeing, even in the midst of a challenge, I'm like, wow, the presence these guys have, especially living in London, is unbelievable. You can't walk down the street without meeting an Arsenal fan.
I think it's also because, as much as I do hate Arsenal more than City, it's their success would be organic, right? If Arsenal win it, it's because they've done things the right way. Yes, they've spent a lot of money, but it's money that their club has made and all that kind of stuff. City winning it for me is I don't know, if some billionaire went and bought Wigan and then they just start winning, it'd be like, all right, cool. It doesn't really
doesn't change you
that much. It just feels weird,
But how much do these battles in particular, Roy Keane versus Patrick Vieira, Van Nistelrooy versus Henry, Fergie versus Wenger, how much of that spurs the hatred as well too, fuels it? Because before Wenger came in, what's your opinion on Arsenal at that point, Adam, before Wenger comes in?
So Wenger came in 95?
Yeah. 96.
96, so I was 7 when he came in. So, the memories I have of us playing Arsenal was Cantonage, chest volley, in a 1-0 win.
But it's not hatred, right?
But I don't really hate. I hate Liverpool because we've had that we won the double, and when we won the double in 95, 96, it was like Spice Boys against Fergie's boys, and it was like which team's going to become the team to go on and dominate England.
Yeah.
And obviously, you look back now and you think, no, that Liverpool team, we're never going to do that. But at the time, that was a topic of conversation. So I've always hated Liverpool. And like, it was only until secondary school where I started to meet Arsenal fans and like get to know them. And obviously Arsenal.
I've met them.
Get to know them.
In my primary school, most of us were United fans and you had Villa fans and there was even a strange, like random Newcastle fan. But like, I never really had any Arsenal fans in my primary school. So I didn't really.
This game is interesting, right? And this season is interesting because Arsenal were in the driving seat for a large part of it, but I guess not too similar to this season.
No.
It started to kind of slip away, right? And unlike City, it was United who started to kind of creep up and just pick up points at their own pace. And Van Nistelrooy in particular really started.
Paul Scholes
as well too. That's the season where they were kind of playing almost as a two. But Van Nistelrooy really just started scoring goals at such a rate in the closeout part of the season, which kind of led us into this game that felt like a must-win for both sides, right?
Yeah. Our second half of the season form was just not good enough. And that's very comparable to this season. United went on an impressive run, a run comparable to City's in 23-24, where we went toe-to-toe till game week 38. And we just dropped far too many points leading up to this Man United game, hence why it made this game that much more important. If you see Henry's goal, which was the Ashley Cole shot that nicked off him, the celebrations, that comes from a bit of frustration at this game being as important as it is now because of our failures in the past few games. Right? Because around that time, we had won 1 in 5. We had won 1 game in 5 from game week 30. You don't win a league like that.
Wow.
You know, we beat someone after we drew to United, and that was our only win amongst those 5 games. So it was massive. It was massive, and to be honest, it was painful at the time. It's become more painful since because this was our three-peat. And it should have been our title, but it just breaks up what could have been a bit more. You see how your treble came with a three-peat too? Our Invincibles could have come with a three-peat. If we had just got this one, if we had just got this one in between, we won a couple FA Cups there too. That 3 years would have been, it was still impressive. And we look back at it, you know, that was our glory days. But this season in particular, it was painful. I can't lie, it was painful. The funny thing is our reputation now is the whole bottler stuff. That these times, we won the league at Old Trafford. We won the league at White Hart Lane the year before. We won the league at Anfield in 89. This is the opposite of bottlers. You know what I mean? So we had something about us them times. That's what makes it even more painful because it wasn't expected. And this season, you can see there's some fragility mentally with us. There was no fragility mentally with them, man.
Let me ask you, how much of a fortress did Highbury feel like at that point?
Oh, Highbury was different. I miss it. Probably one of the worst things to happen to Arsenal Football Club, moving stadium, if I'm honest with you. That and the Kroenkes coming in, or American ownership coming in, because across the board they're terrible, wherever they are. But Highbury was... I'm yeah, that's right, across the board. I'm just happy I got to experience Highbury. You know, I went to matches in 97, 98. I went to matches in between as well, and I went 01, 02. It was special. The tightness of the pitch, a lot of people used to complain about it, the ops used to complain about it, but we loved it. And it just worked for us, and we made it special. Since moving into the Emirates, we failed to find that
identity.
That aura, that feeling when you walk into a stadium. I don't think Emirates has grasped that yet, even though Emirates has improved in the last few years. Highbury was special.
Yeah, the marble halls and all that. It's like, you hear like Arsenal is supposed to be like a classy team and this, that, and that Highbury kind of fit into that, didn't it? Like, and it's interesting to hear you say that, actually, because I'm one of these that when we had a vote recently on whether season ticket holders could vote on the new stadium, and I was one of the few, like a third of people that said no new stadium, like, because I don't want a new stadium. Like, if you can improve Old Trafford and all that, yes, but I feel like you've got to keep a hold of something. And I think the traditions that come with your stadiums, like Old Trafford, like Highbury, you can't just let them go and let them get knocked down or turn into apartments like Highbury has been. You need to keep a hold of something. And I just feel like a lot of these new stadiums, like Wembley and all that, like, they don't do it for me, man. They feel soulless.
You know what it is? I think you leave behind almost like your heritage and stuff at your old ground. Like I was talking to someone the other day about it, and I was saying how even in our worst years, post-Fergie, it just feels like with Man United in a game, we never know when we're done. And it almost feel like sometimes we say the Stretford end sucks in the goal, right? And I feel like it's based on years of just Man United doing that at Old Trafford. And I look at the Emirates and I'm like, Arsenal don't have a history of doing that at that ground, right? When Arsenal are down 2-1 at the Emirates these days, I think they're going to lose 2-1. They're a better team than Man United, but with Man United, you just never feel like it's done. And I wonder, was that the case at Highbury? I doubt it. I feel like at Highbury, it had a bit of, you had built like almost, like you said, an aura around it that this is a 12th man. We're going to get you over the line.
Yeah, that was our move from Arsenal Football Club to Arsenal Football Company, in my opinion. That stadium move was, when you look back at it, that's what happened. We turned from a club to a company, in my opinion. Now we're on the cusp of achieving things again, but in terms of the direction, in terms of what you say about being classy and whatnot, we were, I think. But then when you become a company and you know the way the world works, we lost a lot. It's a hard reset. It's like, look at Liverpool, look at the Anfield aura, right? If they was to up and move even a mile down the road,
it's different.
It's not.
I think other Premier League clubs celebrate.
Yeah, definitely. That's a free 3 points they might be getting.
It's different. Even you walking into Old Trafford now, even though it's not the same, there's still a feeling.
No, there's a feeling.
You're in Old Trafford because greatness has happened right here.
Yeah.
You know, whereas we've moved stadium and I can't say greatness has happened here. Hopefully it does in a few weeks, but
it feels like you're almost feels like you're trying to build your reputation in that stadium all over again. You know what I loved about Highbury when I see the pictures is that big screen with the goal scorer's name and number on it when they score. That is cool. There's the Ronaldo one,
and
obviously.
The clock as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
obviously, I think you took that to the new ground, didn't you? But it's still.
Yeah. Let's talk about the game. All right. I'm guessing both of you guys are feeling confident, but going to Highbury, Adam, must be daunting.
We beat Newcastle 6-2 the game before this. Scholes scored a hat-trick. And like, he was well informed. Ruud was well informed. Obviously, you're coming up against Arsenal, who are a different beast to that. But we just beat a decent Newcastle finished third that season. So we just beaten a good Newcastle side 6-2 at St James's Park the weekend before this midweek game. So we were going into this game
positive. Well, he just said they'd won 1-5.
Yeah.
So you felt that.
And like I said, we hadn't lost since December in the league.
Wow.
So we had gone on a good run, and this was April.
Yeah.
So
mad run. It was December after you lost on Boxing Day, and then didn't lose a game after that. 3 draws and all wins, and the third draw being Arsenal. Our form in comparison, we lost to Blackburn a few weeks before this Man United game. We drew to Villa, we drew twice to Liverpool, we drew to Tottenham, and that's all since this United run started. So obviously, you know, United were the City of now. Without the charges, without, you know, you've done it the right way. They was a beast, you know. So they was the Sharks then. You know how the City got the Sharks rhetoric now? They was the Sharks then. So there was nerves there for sure. That's why I think we celebrated the first goal like we did. And that's why some of the images at the end of the game, finger biting in the crowd, because we were at home. We've thrown away points leading up to this game. This was a chance for us to essentially put the title somewhat away, put one hand on that trophy.
Reclaim the
power.
The narrative and like, because it felt like it was slipping away from you. You win this and you go, all right.
Again, like City this season, leading up to it, we've dropped points. We've allowed them back into
the parallels are scary.
How big is this game now? And this one we managed to take something from, but it was at home. Etihad, we took nothing from, and here we are. Parallels are it's spooky, scary. Huh? It's for Arsenal fans, it's scary. Yeah.
Ruud van Nistelrooy, first goal scorer on the day. How good was he this season, Adam? How good was he in general?
I think he ended up with like 25 league goals that season.
I think he scored less than Henry this season.
No, right? Pipped Henry on the last day.
Yeah, Henry did 2020
against
this season.
Charlton.
Yeah, Henry did 2020. Yeah.
Yeah, Ruud was phenomenal. Obviously, he had that rivalry with Henry where them two just went head to head for years, and I think he won a couple of golden boots in there, but he really needed a league title and he needed to really cement himself. And I think it was Rio Ferdinand's first season at United as well after coming from Leeds.
Potentially.
Yeah, because he signed after the World Cup 02, didn't he? So this was Rio's first season, and so it was a team that's kind of in transition. Our goalkeeper situation isn't the best. You know, you got Mikael Silvestre out there and Wes Brown rather than your usual, you know, what we would come to expect, like the Gary Nevilles and Dennis Irwin. You're kind of changing things up. I think Mickey Silvestre played against us on the way to the final in 99.
For Inter.
I think that's when Fergie went like, all right, take him and then signed him the next season. So he was still settling as well. Like, there's a lot of players settling in there. And then, obviously, as I said, Ruud van Nistelrooy, the wait was worth it for him because he was the best goal scorer I've ever seen in a Man United shirt.
You reckon?
Goal scorer, pure, like not the best striker. I think Rooney's the best striker, but pure goal scorer, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Rematch is powered by Betway, your home for weekly free bets, free spins, and so much more. Don't miss out. Head to Betway today. Please find the link in the description below.
Let's talk to me about Ruud, right? Because I always think he's a little unfortunate about his time at Man United because
Madrid. Spent 5 years at United, 4 at Madrid, and won 0 European Cups.
Yeah, but I even think in terms of their dominance, right? At Man United, he's sandwiched between the treble three-peat winning team and then the three-peat Champions League winning team. He's sandwiched in that awkward phase where we won 1 in 4 or 5 years. And then at Madrid, he's I think he won 1 or 2 league titles there, but he missed the Galactico era before and after. Is it good? Like, in that sense, are you like even more happy that he at least got 1 at Man United?
Oh, yeah, of course. You look at Ruud van Nistelrooy, right? He could easily get forgotten as like just a decent, like he was more than a decent player, just another decent player.
Yeah.
But you look at his goal scoring record, I think he had 150 and 250.
Yeah, his record was insane, man.
For United, if I remember correctly. He definitely scored 150 for us in such a short period of time. And this, again, we're talking about an era before that where strikers, 15 to 20 goals, they've had a great season, well done. Like, nice one. But he was going above and beyond that and putting them in. And he used to get a lot of criticism for like, you don't score from outside of the box and all this kind of stuff. And he didn't have to. Yeah. Because he knew where to be and where, like you look what he does to Sol Campbell for his first goal here.
Yeah, talk to me about the first goal, right?
Sol Campbell, one of the best defenders in Premier League history. Yeah, one of the best defenders at this point in the Premier League. The ball comes to him just inside the halfway. Sol Campbell's right up his arse. And he just turns and nicks it. I don't know if it goes through his legs, but it kind of looks like it
scoops
does.
it,
And then the finish as well to just chip the goalkeeper. I know it was Stuart Taylor and was Lehmann your keeper at that time?
Yeah. No, wait. No, it wasn't Lehmann.
Admittedly, it was against Stuart Taylor, obviously, he was a good young keeper at the time, but he wasn't obviously the main man for Arsenal then. No. But still, you look at the defence Arsenal had, Sol Campbell breathing down his neck. That was a real special goal. And the kit.
Even in between the kit's legendary, but even his run across Keane, because you're right, Ruud's reputation is more of a goal poacher type of striker, right? But he had much more about him. And I think he played a big part in Henry's greatness in this league.
You reckon?
Because I don't think there's much better motivation than competition. And he was Henry's competition in the league. He was the one, on his heels or in 0-2-0-3 got more goals than him. But generally that goal showed that he's more than just a poacher in the box. It was a big injury for him that caused him to be more like that. That played a part in his career, I think.
I mean, again, it's kind of Fergie's player management. Again, kind of going, I'm still going to sign you in a year. Like to be able to do that after you suffered that kind of injury and wait for him. I think because the season we won the treble, Dwight York and Cole were the best two, and it was Luke Nilis and Ruud who were the best partnership after them two.
Wow.
And then Luke Nilis got his move to Villa, broke his leg.
Wow.
And Ruud was about to get his move, obviously goes down with his, I think it's a cruciate injury, and then eventually makes a move. But yeah, Ruud was out of this world. And I agree that competition as well probably brought a little bit extra out of them. But like you say, he had to prove something. We had to go and win something. And I think those comparisons to Henry and who's the better player and all that lives rent-free in your head when you're a striker. You have to get over the line, and Ruud helped us do it.
How much did it live rent-free in you guys' heads, right? How much of a debate was that growing up and with your friends?
I'd never admit Thierry Henry was a good footballer.
Good, period.
I haven't until today.
Not even a better footballer, just a good footballer, period.
Breaking news.
Bro, you can't give an inch in school. Like, you mad. Bro, I used to have an Arsenal friend that sit next to me in school called Levi, yeah. Bro, he wouldn't stop chatting about Thierry Henry, so I'd have to just like, bro, he's nothing compared to Henry.
I used to do that with Keane in the Vieira. Keane's nobody. Nah, he's the best captain of Premier League history. But that's what you got to do in school, man. You've got to back it. Now we're a bit older. I think you can take a step back from it all, and football isn't as much life as it was then. Yeah. So you can be a bit more nuanced about it.
It's such an interesting, though, dynamic between Van Nistelrooy and Henry, because they were competing, right? And they were always in comparison, but they're so different. Like Van Nistelrooy is maybe Haaland has taken over the mantle, but like the most single-minded goal scorer I think the Premier League has ever seen in terms of a guy just obsessed with goals. Where Henry scores goals in bunches, but his whole game is kind of about like more than just goals. And yet the two of them were always at the center of conversation.
Very different. Like, do you think I'm doing injustice? Because when people talk of Haaland now and the records he's breaking, and if he continues to stay, he might break the Shearer one. And where does he rank in in strikers of all time in the Premier League. For me, he's probably final form Van Nistelrooy.
That's the way I look at it. Yeah, he's like a stronger,
But
faster.
I don't think it
Van
sits well
Nistelrooy.
with Adam.
I think Van Nistelrooy's a better footballer. Do you remember Van Nistelrooy's goal against Basel?
Van
You might
Nistelrooy
have-
before. Van Nistelrooy
In the
for me
Champions
is-
League against Basel, he scored a goal, Van Nistelrooy, where he's like on the byline, and he kind of dribbles through a few players and then just cuts it into the top of the net. I don't see
You don't
Henry.
see that.
Sorry, not Henry. I don't
Haaland,
see
yeah.
Haaland scoring.
Yeah, I think
goals
Van
like that.
Nistelrooy. Yeah, you know what? I agree with that because I have seen some
Yeah,
Van
you're
Nistelrooy goals where I'm like, oh, you're more technical than people give you credit for. Like you're more shifty than people.
There's a
give you
goal
credit
he
for.
scored against Charlton.
Yeah.
Rooney makes one of the best runs I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, again we're wearing blue. I think it's the season after this. He runs through this whole team and then he dinks it back to Ruud. He chests it away
That
from the
one I've
goal,
seen,
and
yeah.
hooks it over his shoulder on
Yeah,
the volley.
that one I've seen. Yeah, I hear that. I think I agree with what you're saying in terms of Haaland. Again, the single-mindedness in terms of just scoring
Probably more
goals,
that,
and then the
yeah.
athletic ability that he has, maybe more than Van Nistelrooy. But Van Nistelrooy, yeah, you're right. He was crafty, man. He was really crafty.
Offside, he used to manipulate
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Stand offside for ages. And then as soon as someone ran to take the free kick, he'd jump back in and jump back out. It's like people didn't know how to deal with him.
And his penalties, side netting, every time. Every
Apart
time.
from that one time.
And that one time showed how much Van Nistelrooy did get under our skin.
Yeah.
Because
Keane, I mean,
that reaction wasn't just because of that penalty
Yeah.
miss. It's because Van Nistelrooy was a nasty guy in terms of a player. Nasty side. He had a bit of a...
That's Ashley Cole.
Yeah. which is part and parcel of that day and age. So when he missed that penalty, firstly, Ruud's missing a penalty. Wow. And then the context is in an invincible season. The feeling around it was, look at this, see you next Tuesday. He got a semi elbow from Keane and whatnot. But that's testament to the player he was and the nasty side of him and the goals and how much pressure he managed to put on us. And we had the greatest striker, in my opinion, behind R9 of that time. R9 was just something else. But Van Nistelrooy pushed him to the limit. And like I said, without Van Nistelrooy, I'm not saying Henry wouldn't be the greatest player or striker in my opinion in this league, but
he raised the level.
100%.
Yeah.
Look at this season in particular. Van Nistelrooy scored about 17 goals in his last 18
Is this
games.
the season he scored 11 in a row or 10 in a row at that point?
He scored two hat tricks in the title running. 2 hat tricks. Henry then did the 2020 in the same season. Van Nistelrooy was definitely pushed by Henry to the goals, and I guess Henry was pushed by Van Nistelrooy the other way as well and got the 2020 season. But he
Van
managed to-
Nistelrooy would never get 20 assists.
No. not
Never.
this game. But you know what's
He's
so
not passing
funny
the ball,
about
are you mad?
You know what's so funny about this game, right? The goal that Van Nistelrooy scores is Henry-esque.
Yeah.
And the first goal that Henry claims is almost Van Nistelrooy-esque in terms of just getting a last ditch. So it's odd the way it switched up. But yeah, Arsenal get a response. Ashley Cole dribbling through, cutting inside, finishing, with help of a deflection from Thierry Henry.
Yeah.
1-1. You talked about the celebrations showing how much this kind of meant in the landscape of the title race, but in terms of the rivalry as well too.
That's what it was about, man. The goal was actually given to Henry. I think on paper
claims
he got
it,
a double. Yeah, that goal was massive because, like I said, there was nerves going into the game. In this type of game, when you're at home, you're thinking, let's get that first goal. Take those nerves away. They get the first goal, and they get it emphatically. I think that goal was brilliant from Van Nistelrooy, taking out Sol Campbell across Keane, dinking the keeper. So we needed something, and it didn't really feel like it was coming. I remember it just felt like it was gonna be one of those days, and then you get that bit of luck, you get that slice of fortune, and you could see what it meant. It meant as much to the fans as it did to the players on that pitch because it felt like, cool, we've got a foothold back in this now. Let's go on now and do what we need to do to regain control of the title race or title, whatever you want to call it. So that goal was massive. That goal was, I mean, I say it's massive. We know now that we didn't actually go on to do anything with it. But at the time, I remember every goal against United was massive in that era. Every single goal, you'd celebrate it like it was, I would like it's a Champions League fan. Because again, you go school the next day and you've got to have some fire.
If you went to school using this era, you was tough cookie.
Should I tell you one of my worst days at school?
You make it sound like it's war.
Swear to God, bro, you're a tough cookie.
One of my worst days at school was after the FA Cup semi-final 98-99 when Bergkamp missed a penalty and
Giggs done his thing.
That was one of my worst days in school history because I just knew what was coming going into it. I had nothing to.
It's on the back of the first round, not the first round, the first leg. No, was it?
Yeah, the first game.
The
And
first
then
game
replay,
of that before the replay.
Yeah.
As well, you probably should have won that one.
Yeah. That's what it felt like. So that goal was massive. Ashley Cole as well. Yeah. I mean, memories with him don't sit too fondly. But yeah, these times he was an important player for us.
How do you view Ashley Cole now? Is it similar to the Van Nistelrooy thing where so much time's passed that it's kind of eased off a little bit, or do you still hate him?
I hate Van Persie more. Ashley.
That sounds weird to me because one stayed in London and one...
Yeah.
But he hates Man United more than Chelsea.
Yeah, I know, that's true, that's
in
true.
hindsight, you know, Ashley Cole, if you offered him 60k and then in the contract it's 55, you are taking the piss. I also think, Cole, come on, 5k, just go back in and tell them what you man doing. Ask for 65 because they tried to take the piss. You know, play the game a little, but that was Chelsea money era. So, okay, that was more our fault. With the Van Persie one, he had the choice to go wherever he wanted. So, I won't say I hate Cole. I dislike Cole. You know, when I talk about legends at Arsenal, I don't put him in there. And when we do combined 11s or best 11s of Premier League history, if there's Ashley Cole in there, it's the Chelsea Cole because I don't recognise the Arsenal Cole. But yeah, I mean, Van Persie is really the one that took the biscuit at the end. He could have gone Juventus. I remember those times.
I said Juventus. He said the little boy in my heart.
Yeah,
Man United.
Of course.
That's actually crazy, Adam. When I actually think about Van Persie sometimes, man, the fact that he talked about the little boy in my heart was screaming for Man United. Nah, if I was an Arsenal fan,
if you
I think I would have been depressed.
If you lot can get Van Persie on this chair, bring me to that one.
He's gonna have to come with. He's gonna have to come with 3 bodyguards, man.
Listen, I just want to talk.
Right, just want to talk with your fists, man. Adam, you were telling us before when we were watching the highlights of this, right, about Solskjaer's role this season as a right-sided player.
If I'm not confused, my season, because this was Beckham's last season.
I think you're right in what you're saying.
And Beckham's last season was fraught with a lot of issues. So we had the cup game against Arsenal at Old Trafford, which we lost 2-0. And Giggs missed the open goal. And Beckham, I think Edu scored, and I think Fergie basically blamed Beckham for not tracking back or something like that. And then obviously in the dressing rooms, Fergie takes a swipe at the kit and a boot lands in Beckham's head. So that was this season. And then there was a period of time where I think Beckham was injured, but also Solskjaer came in on the right wing and replaced him and did really well. I think he got like 15 goals. He was crossing. He sets up Giggs' equaliser in this as well with like a Beckham-esque cross. And that was when you started to see Fergie look into a period of time without Beckham, which for me was heartbreaking because like Beckham was my guy. Like he's still my favourite footballer till this day. Like,
wow.
And yeah, I was so gutted because I could never picture Man United without Beckham. Like, you know, like say Scholes was leaving or Gary, like what? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And we always used to have rumours. I remember Ryan Giggs used to get linked with like Inter Milan and Juventus a lot. Scholes would get linked to a move abroad. But you knew none of these are ever going to leave. And then the Beckham thing starts and you're like, he's not going to leave. He's not going to leave. And then after the Real Madrid game,
him and Zidane.
He has that chat with Zidane and he says he's in talks and you're like, as a kid, because I was at that Madrid game, so I got home and then must have recorded the game and watched the highlights and they're talking about it after and you're like, he hasn't said that. He could have been saying anything. Like you're doubting it yourself. You're like trying to make yourself believe he's staying. And yeah, it was the end of David Beckham, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in that season was phenomenal. And that's why like when people describe Ole as just a goal scorer, look at the intelligence of him as well because he had to play out wide. And when he used to come off the bench, he'd always make an impact because of that intelligence and his ability to watch the game. And it's no surprise he went into coaching, but yeah, Ole was amazing.
That's Beckham. That's Krosk from the right hand side.
Amazing.
And Giggs of all players scoring with his head.
With a header. I don't think he scored many headers in his career.
It wasn't even a great header even. Like his point blank range.
If I'm honest with you. Solskjaer had a bit of nastiness to him. Did it come with Fergie or because I said nastiness about Ruud.
Ruud's Dutch, so he was born with it.
Yeah, he's got that.
I think anyone who played under Fergie though, like he was a bit of a bastard. I'm not
also,
gonna lie.
if you join a dressing room, Solskjaer joined the club in '96. So you got Roy Keane and all these different guys there. You've got to prove yourself to them. And I think also in training, they speak about it a lot where like, if you're new in training and you try something, they'll just put one in on you. So now you got to go again and now you got to go. And
it was Pogba recently who was saying when he first came to United training, he was young, but he was really big and he didn't want to like go in there and like shove people around and like Evra told him, carry on like this, you're going to be the team's bitch. And he said the next training session, I went and basically knocked over Berbatov and told him, yeah, let's go to the gym after this. And from there, he said Berbatov started talking to me, actually. We became friends after that. But that's kind of what these ex-players, they always talk about it. The training sessions are more difficult than the game. because they play it like an actual war.
And you hear about like stories of their rondos and stuff, and it's like, I think Rio Ferdinand mispacing a pass in his first training session, and Roy Keane shouting over to the manager like, "You spent how much on this guy?" Like, just these mind games
sink
that
or
they
swim.
have.
Honestly, sink or swim. If you don't,
Now players come in and they get in that tunnel with people slapping their backs and all of that. It's like, brother, someone lay one into him and show him what this club's about.
It's true though, man.
Henry grabs an Henry-esque goal in terms of finish, but
Offside.
miles offside, man. What is this?
I never knew it was offside till today.
My word. Is that what, watching back? You see it? Like, but when United get calls going their way, it's Fergie.
The Fergie check bounced that day. It must have. Man. That
Wenger paid a little extra that day.
That must have been them saying, "Yo, Fergie, I checked my account. It didn't drop today, man. So have this one." It was miles offside, about 5 yards offside at the minimum. And when you put Henry 1-on-1,
that finish is so Henry, man.
I struggled to, like I said, R9 aside, I struggled to put anyone above Henry 1-on-1. That finish. Henry.
So we're going to go back to school. I'm about to say Ruud van Nistelrooy again.
That's fair because he is an absolute finisher. But I mean, that Henry finish into the bottom corner, everyone knew he's going to do it.
It was because his body shape as well. Like, you know how a lot of players will like lean to the opposite side to where they're going to shoot. He used to be able to stand straight and tall, even
the goal, like he doesn't like open up his body to show his angle.
So you don't know, he could go right, he could go left,
like digs it out of his
You don't
feet,
really know which way he's going to shoot. It's an amazing body shape.
Yeah, the job was easy for him, man. No, I agree. Pause.
He curved his body and everything.
The way he bent his body around. No, but yeah, from when the offside flag didn't go up, just bury it. And, you know, we talk about referee decisions so much these days because every single week there's poor ones. Back in the day, human error. You tend to get riled, get frustrated, but you brush it off because human error is acceptable in some way, shape or form. Even though that one, what the hell was the linesman doing?
He's had a day off, man.
Yeah, listen, like we get away with, Ruud could have got sent off, Ashley Cole. There's decisions.
We don't talk about those, man. Seriously, we don't talk about those, man.
Never happened.
Our gives us Arsenal were clean, man. Seriously.
But then, 2-1 up when you're at home, then you're starting to think, let's just.
And I remember feeling like, fought ourselves back into this position.
Yeah.
We're 1-0 up in this game. Here we go. And then you throw it away. You just feel a bit deflated, you know what I mean?
Vieira came off early. I remember first half he came off. So that did hamper us.
What were those battles like Keane and Vieira those days?
The best. You tell me one battle to define the Premier League or my Premier League era. It's Keane Vieira Keane. The United Arsenal rivalry, right? If you compare it to City Liverpool, right?
That's a different.
It's miles off. And if someone was to ask why, I'd say Keane Vieira. I don't need to tell you anything else. Just search Keane Vieira, and that is why.
Yeah, them lots hugging and kissing and clap and pep all friendly and
it's not the same.
You play good football. No, you play good football. Piss off, brother. You need this. You need this edge in that. Like,
didn't Van Dijk and De Bruyne have a picture together? You'd never see that with Keane and Vieira them times.
Do you think you're getting a bit of that?
I remember
back?
they did something for ITV post career.
Yeah.
Keane and
on
Vieira. And I remember thinking, how have they managed to make this
now you
happen?
see them on the sofa every week.
Because it didn't feel right that they were doing something together. And I remember at the time they were still maybe a little bit off. But yeah, Keane Vieira just epitomizes.
It's crazy now you see them together like they're buddies on the Sky sofa.
And there's still some bite there. Remember that?
Yeah, they throw little jabs. They throw little jabs every once in a while. But I see them cracking jokes together now, and it's like, wow, these guys would have killed each other back in the day.
Would have. They nearly did at times.
Yeah.
They did. That's why that rivalry epitomized them. But that's why one of my favourite games against Arsenal was the season before where Keane scores 2 and we win 2-1 at Highbury. Like, just so Keane has that moment at Highbury. You know what I mean? Like, it was special, man.
Rematch is powered by Betway, your home for weekly free bets, free spins, and so much more. Don't miss out. Head to Betway today. Please find the link in the description below.
Do you feel you're getting a little bit back of that in this new Arsenal City rivalry? I know you need to start winning to kind of make it a full-fledged rivalry, but in terms of that bite, in terms of that, not hate, maybe it is a little bit of hatred as well too, the animosity between players and coaches. Do you think maybe this is the closest we've gotten in a while to two teams really disliking each other?
Oh.
Animosity.
Between Arsenal and City, I look at Haaland and Gabriel. I look at the Lewis Skelly thing last season.
It's because the bar is low.
The bar is low. Look, you're not gonna get
Liverpool
Declan Rice and Rodri going head to head, but like, you know what I mean. I feel like we haven't had two teams during game go at each other, even outside of a footballing perspective, for so long now.
And we got to build on that. I love it.
Yeah.
Like even, was it last year, Lewis Skelly and
Yeah,
Haaland
yeah.
had the, I love those little things. I think it's part and parcel of the game. I'm glad Gabriel didn't get
Haaland
sent
saying
off. I'm
stay
glad
humble.
Haaland stayed
Yeah,
up
yeah.
in that moment, because again, in that time, Keane wouldn't have gone down if Vieira did that to him, and vice versa. You got to have a bit of that in it. So, because the bar is low in terms of rivalries, I'd say it's got the most bite in it since maybe United City in
Mancini.
Fergie's
Mancini and
last,
Fergie's an underrated rivalry.
Fergie's last
It's
season,
an underrated
yeah.
rivalry. Fergie hated Mancini, man.
and that's a different level because it was actually Man United.
Fergie
City.
Rafa as well was a bit tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fergie and
Mascherano
everyone.
got
Man.
sent
The
off
only
at
one
Old Trafford.
Fergie liked was Mourinho, man. That's the only one he liked. And I think it's because he saw him as a threat.
But then he didn't pick him when it was time to choose the.
He picked
did he?
Mourinho. It was Sir Bobby Charlton that didn't think Jose Mourinho was a Man United manager.
Yeah, and he
Okay, I
was
didn't know
right.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably
Bobby was
right.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, kind of piggybacking off that, right? Do you think what it'll take to get a rivalry that heated again is for Man United and Arsenal to get back to the top?
Bruv, there'll be murders if Man United and Arsenal are challenging for a league title.
Because I mean, there's been moments
be
over the last
horrible.
there's been moments over the last few seasons where it's like it's threatened to maybe be something like that. I remember
I at least need a title race against City or Chelsea or something to warm up.
yeah.
I can't just go cold straight back into Man United
Do
Arsenal.
you remember?
That's wild.
Do you remember Ten Hag's first season where they were starting to really
Yeah.
challenge, and we had that game at the Emirates, and I think we were on a good winning run, and then we drew to Palace. the week before.
Garnacho scored.
No, that's
he got-
even the next season.
okay.
But this season, I think it's when Lissandro scored at the Emirates, Rashford, and then Nketiah won it. But at that point, there was only a handful of points, and United were threatening to maybe challenge. They obviously finished loads behind. But I just remember those weeks were so, in terms of content, like the amount of content United and Arsenal fans were doing together, the hatred, like, if obviously you're never going to get close to Roy Keane and Vieira, but it felt for the first time in a while like two fan bases, two teams, two coaches that were really going head to head against each other. Does it take clubs like that are so culturally relevant to also make a title race that tasty?
I think maybe the fan bases as well.
Yeah.
Because you spoke about City, Liverpool,
don't hate
City,
each other,
Arsenal,
yeah.
right? There's no real hatred there between the fan bases. And I think that's what, if you were going against United now, there's no way you get booed off after you lose against Bournemouth. Because everyone is hating Man United. Like, we need to go after this. We got
together.
one common
Yeah,
goal. Let's
Yeah,
go
we don't
for
give a
this.
shit about the play
Like,
style.
it unites
Yeah.
everybody. Do you know what I mean? Like, as well, like, I think the fan bases carry a lot of it. It's like when United and Liverpool, we hate them. Do you know what I mean? So we're always going to have that little edge. And then that adds to what happens on the pitch. And then that adds to what the managers are doing as well. Like, I think, I'm not ready for that.
Listen, I'd love it. I'd love it to come back. Because that is the one I grew up on.
I think that'll be the pinnacle of
and
football
that is
again.
the one I
If
want.
Arsenal and United are competing for a challenge, for a title,
I think the fan bases are somewhat ready.
The Premier League needs it.
Yeah,
I've been ready for 13
Yeah,
years,
the-
brother.
the Premier League
I'm
needs it.
salivating.
Yeah, it needs it.
No, I'm salivating, bro.
He said, nah, no pause.
Play that. I've been craving a title for United, or even just at least a proper. Even when we come second in the league recently, it's like we're 15 points behind City, man.
But if you play your cards right, and I guess if we play our cards right, it could be round the corner because I don't see Pep staying too. I think Pep's gone in the
The
summer.
Premier League needs an Arsenal versus Man United title race. Oh my word! That
Or at least pretend at least till December or
Yeah,
something.
give us something.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, just give us something.
Give us a
like.
top of the table clash
Just
at
pretend.
Emirates or Old Trafford.
I think that game at the Emirates, the 3-2, it felt like
yeah.
it felt like we won that game. Oh, we might actually be in this.
There's hatred with United.
Yeah,
Trust me, man.
man.
It's built from real, real rivalry, real.
If you remember before our time, there was a battle. There was at Old Trafford. They were beefing.
Yeah, that.
Like
I
the
was gonna ask
Winterburn,
about
Brian
that. So,
McClare, and all these
yeah,
men were
yeah,
kicking
yeah,
each
yeah.
other up.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just like the 90s kids that grew up in the 90s and stuff like us that, like, they had it before.
something
I think
there.
that was
That's just
late
real man shit.
80s.
That's just real man shit though. Between Man
Late
United.
Because
80s.
97, 98, now don't quote me on this, right? But 97, 98, I'm sure that league title made it 13 league titles apiece.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure. Or around that. In my lifetime.
How many of you got in total now?
13. So we would have had 10 in 97. 98 was our 11th. 02 was our 12th. And how many you won now? 20.
Yeah, we're on 20.
You won it in 13. You won it in
11.
11, 09,
9, 8, 7,
8, 7,
03,
03,
And
then the 3, that's 9. You see?
Yeah.
wow.
You see? So around that time,
good memory, man.
so that was part of it too, because we was the big, like, not Liverpool were there as well, but they
Of
wasn't.
course. They were ahead of us by a
They was
mile,
ahead of everyone, both of us. But yeah, it was tight. It was the league title. Like, you lot seem shocked when I said it, because it sounds shocking now, because it's. That's why when people say be careful what you wish for and all this stuff, big credit to Wenger for what he did, 100%. I mean, a legend, deserves a stand and deserves that statue to be there. But Arsenal were about before Wenger, and Arsenal need to be about after as well, because in my lifetime, that gap stretched to, what is it now, 7? Yeah.
20,
Crazy.
25, yeah.
How much, I want to ask you this, Turkish, because this has been a conversation on Arsenal even today now, right? How important do you think winning these head-to-heads with your title rivals actually are? Because I know in recent years, people have maybe tried downplaying the importance. Yeah. Gary Neville and Scholes really talk about the emphasizing beating your challengers. How important do you actually think it is?
I do think it's very important.
Maybe from a psychological point of view.
Yeah, because I feel like when you're putting in hard graft throughout a season, there needs to be a wave in the season that just comes from a big win or a big moment, or the style of football you're playing, where you're not necessarily using up your energy levels, but you're on a good run of form because you're flowing. And a big win against your title rivals is something that can, manifest into the squad and create that run. We haven't had that this season. Liverpool, a 1-0 loss, Szoboszlai, free kick last minute. Then we went up against City 1-1. Liverpool again 0-0. City again, we lost 2-1. United, all right, we beat them 1-0 first game, but then we lost the second one in maybe a time where if we beat United, it would have given us that flow.
We'd just beat City as well.
Yeah, it would have given us that flow to win 2 more games, and we're not talking about bottling this season. So, in my opinion, it's massive. Some Arsenal fans will now chime and say, hold on, Turkish, for 2 years we didn't lose to a big 6 side, but we didn't win the league. Yeah, that's because it's a balance. We also drew a lot of games against those.
Yeah, no one's saying you can lose every game or draw every game and then beat your rivals. You have to do,
especially when you're trying to get I know it's not their first, but this team's first. Yeah. You need to put a flag down and say, we just beat them. Now we're going to go win the league. Like, it's important to get those wins, man.
Like, City against Liverpool felt like a flag moment this season at Anfield. It felt like, that if they go on to win it, that's the game you might look back to.
And I think as well, too, like, you got to think, it's not only just what it does to you. You knock back the rival as well. If you beat them, that's a punch in the face for them.
2012-13, we beat City in December or something?
No, 2012-13, yeah, we did. We beat them at the Etihad.
And it felt like it was over.
Yeah, when we beat... Yeah,
in December.
I remember the Van Persie free kick. I genuinely felt we won the league that
night. That's it.
Yeah, free kick, I remember that.
We even celebrated it like it was.
One of my favorite games ever as a United fan.
Was that 3-2 or 4-3?
3-2, last minute. We were up 2-0, then 2-2. Yeah, Nasri. Took a deflection off him. But yeah, no, 100%. There's so many instances. Like, obviously, you can go back to different title races, and maybe United, I think with Fergie, it was always don't lose at their grounds and then defend your fortress, right? But I just think getting one over Chelsea in years we're competing against them, or getting one over Arsenal in a time like this, that's massive, man. It's massive.
100% it is. It can build something, these big games. It can build something that can take you over the line, because like you said, you haven't won it, but it feels like you've taken a big step to winning it, regardless of how many games are left. So that's just something we failed to do this year. If we just changed one of those 90 minutes around, this league would be a wrap already. But it's not, because we've failed every time there's been a moment to see it off.
How much do you think mentality plays a part in this title race? Because I don't think you typically attribute this Arsenal squad to like bottling but relatively this was a bottle. This end of the season was a bottle. What do you kind of put that down to in terms of Arsenal not being able to get over the finish line this season?
Yeah, we was 8 points away from them, I think, in February or March. So yeah, by definition, you could call it that. What happened? It's hard to say.
Because there's not really like a massive injury to the team.
No, we were. It must have just been something mentally that didn't go right.
I think it shows you how hard it is to defend a league title.
Yeah,
like we take it for granted.
I think it's the most underrated thing ever.
But like, if you look at Arsenal's team in the Premier League, has never defended a league title.
Yeah,
Liverpool haven't defended a league title. Blackburn didn't do it.
Chelsea did it once.
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It's only really City and United that regularly did it.
That was over our head. I remember that talk. Are you going to go back to back? Are you going to go back to back?
Because what do they say in sport? They say in sport, the hardest thing isn't getting to the top, it's staying on top.
Defending it, yeah. And I guess that's been somewhat proven over the years, because the greatest sides, I guess, have managed to get those back to back in terms of the Man United and then the latest City era. Chelsea did it though, 04, 05, 05, 06.
Yeah, that's the one other team, Bar City and United.
Yeah, But yeah, I'm not too sure.
Do you think if you had a different keeper, maybe?
But the thing is, Stuart Taylor's, he only started this game. It was last minute.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like the lead up to that, where we lost to Blackburn, where we drew to Aston Villa.
What did you guys add the next season? Colo came in for Keane.
Colo came in.
Or that. Did you sign anyone maybe off the bench? Was that Reyes' first season?
Lehman came
well,
in.
Lehman is a big addition, to be fair.
Yeah, Lehman was a big addition.
Yeah.
Because we needed to secure that. But I can't remember anyone else off the top of my head. We had Edu already that season because he came on for Vieira in this game. It was just one of those things. You know, when you come up against a great team, it can have. Like, I think it can just happen. You know, Man United were a great team. You know, Man United are a great club in terms of history, but at that time, that was very much one of the pinnacle of one of their eras. Even though we had titles dotted around it, that 7-year period for me was mad. 4 titles for them, 3 for us, and Invincibles for us, treble for them. So I just think that United just had that. You see, I can't explain Ferguson, so I'll put it. Ferguson was just a magician. He was just something else. Pep's done amazing, but I don't think Pep can do anything to surpass Sir Alex
Fergie's just a
Ferguson,
winner, man.
Because I just look at some of his sides and think, how did you muster that from that? Or how did you get that out of that?
Especially in his latter years.
Like even Solskjaer on the right wing. That Solskjaer's profile doesn't suit right wing, but Fergie put him right wing or Welbeck in midfield. So yes, we bottled it.
It's something about Fergie, man. He's got this intangible quality to just. I mean, that's management. It's management what I'm talking about here, but
and it's the relentlessness as well. Like we've just spoken about defending a title, right? And great coach like Arsene Wenger, one of the greatest coaches the Premier League seen. He couldn't get his team to do it.
How much do you think of that comes down to ruthlessness, though?
But
in terms of
it was
Fergie,
almost like they used to celebrate it, and Fergie be like, "All right, that's it.
Yeah,
that's what.
No more of this because we're thinking about next season."
But I'm even thinking in terms of like replacing and renewing the squad.
Yeah. Well,
how much of that comes down to
the end of this season? We saw Beckham and bringing Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, and that's Fergie's choice.
And we just replaced Yapstam.
Yeah,
like Yapstam went about probably 8 years too soon.
But I'm even looking at Van Nistelrooy when he let him go. Nistelrooy still top
Louis
striker.
Saha was forming something with Rooney, and then obviously you had Cristiano Ronaldo coming through. Those two didn't get on because Ronaldo would be in training doing all his chops. After he just had Beckham who would push it to the side and whip it in at him. And I was like, bro, I can't play with this. And Fergie's like, well, for the best of the team, we need to get rid of you.
Listening to that and just thinking back more, I think Wenger didn't have a quality that Fergie had. I mean, would you call it ruthlessness? Like sometimes,
so, yeah.
Like Wenger,
And sometimes you'd make mistakes because of it.
Yeah, Wenger would play the same way against Barca as he would against Huddersfield. There's only.
I think Fergie had that issue for a while too, though.
They're both stubborn, but in their own ways, right?
Yeah, but Fergie would change things up if he needs to. He would change if he needed to do something. Fergie would do. Whereas I feel like Wenger maybe let himself down with a lack of tactical nous at times. Maybe this one included.
Maybe Wenger more married to a philosophy than Fergie was.
Yeah. Which listen, it was a great
because Fergie's philosophy was almost like a spirit and a directness to doing things, right? But it's like you said, like if he needed to change things up a little bit, he'd do it.
Yeah, well, Wenger
we'd go to Anfield and be like, you know what, point's fine.
That's what makes the rivalry so good too, in my opinion, though. The contrasting styles, the contrasting philosophies, the way they do their business, the personalities, everything just put together. Guys, it's been a fascinating conversation into what I would consider the greatest rivalry the Premier League has ever seen. The only question remains, when will we see these two teams back on the top of English football?
Next season.
21 is coming. Is that what year 21 of him saying?
That's all Pep goes. Pep goes, we could be back in the promised land.
I think he will.
Think about it.
I think he will.
And will it be Man United up against champions Arsenal? My question is, will it be against champions Arsenal or second for 4 seasons in a row Arsenal?
It'll be against second for 4 seasons in a row Arsenal. Unfortunately, I'd rather they did it than City. I just got a horrible feeling it's City's.
We'll see what happens. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the episode. Adam, Flex, excuse me. Flex was on the last episode.
You're a disgrace,
Adam.
bro.
Thank you, Adam, and Turkish, excuse me, for joining me on this episode. Guys, hit the like button, share, subscribe, hit the notification so you don't miss any future episodes as well, too. This has been another video of Rematch. We'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.